Hello, 8th graders, and welcome to week 2. Today we're going to be talking about how to write a lab report. Now, like I said in the assignment, make sure you pull up that page, how to write a lab report, before you watch this video, because you're going to want to have that in front of you for notes. Obviously, I don't have a board right here, so you're going to need to be looking at your notes. So we're going to be talking about when you do a scientific experiment, you've got to write a report on it. You've got to be able to communicate your results to the world, the scientific community. So you're going to do a science experiment, and we're going to write a lab report. Now, I gave you an example. Of I did a science experiment. In my mind, I didn't really hurt any bears, but about what would happen when you poked a bear with a stick. And if you look at that lab report example, I put a title on there. Now, I waited on the title until after I had done the experiment, because I didn't know what was going to happen, theoretically, until after the experiment's done. So you really don't write the thing in order. You kind of take a bunch of notes on your experiment, and then you go back and write your lab report. So on mine, if you notice that my experiment was, I poked the bear with a stick, and then I counted how many times he bit me. So I poked him once and he didn't bite me at all. And then I poked him twice. I think he bit me once. And pretty soon when I poked him 5 times, he bit me 10 times. So I made a data table and I made a chart for that. And you'll have to do that as well. Remember from last time, we talked about independent variables and dependent variables. So make sure you get the right variable on the x-axis and the right variable on the y-axis. So your experiment that you guys are going to be doing, the kids in class are making rockets on the air launcher, kind of like what you guys did in 7th grade. But this time we're writing a lab report on it. But you guys aren't going to have that option. So you guys are going to make these little paper rockets right here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I did this. It's just a little projectile. You're going to take a pencil and you're going to take a piece of paper. And you're going to just roll it around your pencil. Not too tight, because we don't want to make it so tight that it won't stick on there. Roll. Gotta get it to roll under there. I don't have a table here. Maybe we can do it on my leg. Hold on. And I'm going to roll this up. Now, this is my long one. This was my really, really long one. So this one's going to be a little bit harder to do than my others. Once I've wrapped it around my pencil, I'm going to tape it so that it sticks in a round shape. And then right here across the top, I'm going to tape it shut so that it's nice and aerodynamic. And now I've got something that I can throw off my pencil. It's just a little projectile. And I'm going to make 3 of them. A long one. This one's my short one. And then I'm going to make one that's like a medium size. So I'm going to make 3 projectiles. So the experiment I want you guys to do is I want you to take your projectile and I want you to put it on your pencil. So here it goes. It's on my pencil. And you're going to measure off a distance. You got to make sure that you've measured off, measure off probably like 10 feet so that you can know how far you're going to be able to do this. And then you're just going to flick it. Watch, it's going to fly. Flick. Oh, it's gone. See? And you're going to want to flick the same amount of energy every time you do it. I got to get my projectile. And then we're going to measure how far your projectile went. And I want you to guess if you think the shorter ones will go further when you fling them, or if you think the bigger ones will go further when you fling them. And then I want you to write a lab report on it. So you're going to have to keep some data. For one, you're going to have to write whether this is your short one, your medium one, or your long one. And you may want to measure them. If you've got a ruler, you might want to measure those and see how big they are for your lab report. You're going to have to write down how you made the projectile for your methods, and you're going to have to write what you used to make your projectile for your materials. And all those are written out on your paper. You have to be able to list all those things because there's something called reproducibility. And someone else that comes in later has to be able to look at your lab report and reproduce your experiment. So if they were to do this, they have to know how to roll the paper. They got to know how hard you threw it. They probably even should know how you measured it. Did you put rulers down on the floor? Did you count it off? How did you decide how you're measuring how far they'd go? So you're going to run that experiment. I personally would I would make sure that I run each one about 3 times, and then I would average those distances. So if you don't know how to average, you add up all 3 scores and then divide by the total. So that's how you take an average. You're going to make a cute little data table. If you look at mine, can you guys see the data table on there? So you make a data table, and then you're going to make a graph. So materials, methods, data table, and then you're going to write up your conclusion about what you learned. And I gave you a really good example. You write it just like that. You actually write the word title, and then you write your title. You write the word introduction, and then you write your introduction. That's just how scientists do it. We want to make sure that it's done the same way. So if you have any questions, start emailing me. Let me know what you need help with. But that's the experiment I want you guys to do. And I want you to write a lab report on it. Once you've gotten it done, submit it. We will put those out for peer review. So I will be sending your lab assignment to someone else, and I'm going to send someone else's to you, and you're going to tell me what you like about it, what could be done better. So make sure you do a good job, because kids in your class will be looking at your lab reports. All right? Thanks so much. Okay, bye-bye.